I love my gaming PC, but it's so big. It takes up so much space at my desk, it's so loud, has too much RGB. I wish that I could have the power of a modest gaming PC in a tiny little shape. Oh wow, my wish came true. This is amazing. I wish I could have a date with Lara Croft. Oh, you know what? I'm actually fine with this. Oh hell yeah. Hello, hi, how you doing? I'm TechDweeb, welcome. Thanks for clicking on the video today. I've checked out quite a few mini PCs on my channel. I love them. I think it's a really exciting area of tech. I got kind of burnt out on GPUs for computer builds last year. I was constantly on the hunt for some low-end offerings that were actually a good value. That was kind of my thing. And this generation of hardware from Nvidia and AMD have completely ignored the low end of the market. I've heard talk that the reason for this is because they're expecting APUs to pick up the low end, and it sort of seemed like that was happening last generation with APUs like the 5700G. And when there was word that the new Ryzen 7000 series chips would all have integrated graphics, I was really excited. That was until I saw that they were not the APUs I'd been waiting for. The integrated graphics was lackluster, to say the least. So, as far as building a new, cheap, lower-end PC with actually decent gaming performance, it's really freaking hard right now. Enter mini PCs. The benefits of these things is that the hardware inside is heavily tailored to their specific use cases. So we have cheap, low-end mini PCs that are meant for just basic Windows stuff, although you could sort a game on them, as I've shown. We have modest mini PCs that are actually meant for gaming. They have some competent integrated graphics, and they're marketed as gaming PCs, but they cost less than the price of a low-end graphics card. And you can run some impressive looking stuff on them, especially for the price. And there are higher-end gaming mini PCs that can basically do the job of a modest custom-built desktop gaming PC. But I haven't had the chance to check any of those out. Until now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Beelink SER6 Max. Yes, sir, it is. It's the most powerful gaming-focused mini PC that I've been able to get my hands on. It's tiny, it's badass looking, it's powerful, it has killer specs and features, and the price is... Wait a second, that can't be right. $400? Are you kidding me? An entire little mini gaming PC with a Ryzen 7000 APU with integrated RDNA 2 graphics for $400? There's gotta be a catch, right? Well, let's find out, shall we? The Beelink SER6 Max mini PC is a tiny thing, barely any bigger than a triple-decker peanut butter and banana sandwich. But unlike a triple-decker peanut butter and banana sandwich, the SER6 isn't food. It's a gaming PC. It's about average size for a mini PC, but it's not average size when comparing it to a comparable gaming PC. Packing so much power into such a small form factor isn't the easiest thing in the world, so I hear. But Beelink was up for the challenge, and not only did they manage to cram some seriously impressive specs into this thing, they managed to make it look really freaking cool. Beelink mini PCs are usually really boring, but they did some special stuff with the design of this one. It's a sort of greenish blue color, which I think looks mighty spiffy, and the metal shell makes it feel solid and dependable, like your mom's boyfriend. But unlike your mom's boyfriend, it won't steal your mom from your life. But I'm getting ahead of myself, as I often do. Let's check out what comes in the boxy box, shall we? The box says the name on it, obviously, and some specifications, as you can see. In the box, we get our word papers. We get the mini PC with a ribbon, a floppy ribbon, and then we get a mounting bracket. Oh my god, an HDMI cord. I feel so lucky right now. And we get, holy crap, it's another HDMI cord. I can't believe how amazing this is. And we get our charging brick. This is a 100-watt adapter. That's some serious juice, man. And it has this weird connector. Well, we'll check that out in a bit. The PC itself is really freaking nice looking. It makes a great first impression. On the front, we have a power button, one USB-A hole, and a USB-C hole, and a headphone hole, and a clear CMOS hole. And around back, we have 3 display holes, DisplayPort, HDMI, and USB-C, and another USB-C hole, and another headphone hole, and 2 more USB-A holes, and an Ethernet hole. So this little area down here is for the power adapter. It's a proprietary magnetic connection. I do not generally like proprietary connections because if something breaks, then you'll have to contact the manufacturer rather than just buying your own replacement, but whatever. It's kind of a cool connection at least. I wanted to do a bit of a teardown. Under the bottom cover, we get access to our second M.2 expansion slot, and then I actually dug further, but when I went to edit my video, I realized that that clip got corrupted. So rather than redoing the teardown, I figured I'd take the lazy route and show you a screenshot from Rob Tech's teardown. Check out that guy's channel if you haven't yet. He does great mini PC content. As you can see, we get 2 user replaceable sticks of Crucial DDR5 RAM modules and a 1TB Crucial NVMe SSD, which has a thermal pad on the top of the case. The specs on this thing are kind of impressive, actually. At the core is the Ryzen 7 7735HS. It's an 8-core, 16-thread CPU with a 3.2 GHz base clock and a max boost of 4.75 GHz. And this CPU has an integrated Radeon 680M GPU, which is an RDNA 2 GPU. We also get 32 GB of user-replaceable dual-channel DDR5 RAM clocked at 4800 MHz, and my model came with a 1TB NVMe SSD. And of course, we get our Wi-Fi 6, 2.5G Ethernet, Bluetooth 5.2, and it smells like fuzzy peaches. As usual with these things, we get a standard install of Windows 11 Pro. Obviously, you can do all the web browsing and 4K video stuff you want to do, and it's perfectly quick and snappy. And if you're into creative stuff like Photoshop or video editing, you'll have no problem there. Here I am editing a high-res photo in Photoshop and turning it into art, I guess. Generally speaking, the specifications that you'd want on a PC that you're using for creative work are the same specs that you'd want for a gaming PC, which this is. So yeah, you're not going to have any problem there. And video editing too, of course. Not only do we get a beefy CPU to handle the encoding and the decoding, we also get those Radeon 680M graphics to render effects in real time. So here I am trying to overload the timeline with a bunch of layers of videos with transparencies and effects applied over top. About 15 minutes to render a 15-minute video with lots of effects. As a desktop or productivity PC, this thing is gonna do well for you. Benchmark time, baby. You guys like benchmarks, don't you? Yeah, you do. Don't lie. You love them. In Cinebench R23, I got a multi-core score of 13,512, which is about equivalent to a desktop Core i9-10900 processor. In 3D Mark Time Spy, I got an overall score of 2695, and this score isn't mind-blowingly amazing, but again, considering the size of the price, that's solid. I don't think with this result that we should expect it to be a gaming monster, but it's obviously not going to be a total slouch or anything. Oh, and here's the benchmark results of the Crucial P3 Plus NVMe SSD that we have included, using the real-world performance test profile. And generally, this isn't the best performance for a Gen 4 NVMe SSD, but it'll totally get you by. Well, those are benchmarks, and benchmarks are good at all, but you don't buy a mini gaming PC to run benchmarks all day, unless you're a TechDweeb, in which case you should get a life. So with the benchmarks out of the way, let's move on to the games. Now, I've shown a few mini PCs on my channel, and if you've been paying attention, then you'll have noticed that basically any mini PC can run these sorts of low-spec indie games. And you can run these sorts of games all dang day on a PC like this. And this thing runs super cool and quiet when you're not pushing it. It's pretty quiet for a mini PC just in general, even when you are pushing it, but just playing indie games, the fan is literally inaudible. You can't hear it very much. I won't go on and on about these sorts of games because I've talked about this a lot, but lately, my favorite gaming experiences have been playing games like this. Lots of mini PCs can run older games well, but here we have the horsepower to push those settings right up. Games from like 10 years ago, these games will run great on lots of PCs, but here we could crank the settings all the way to the max and still get really high frame rates. Some of these you will be able to push up to 4K, but I couldn't do that here because I don't have a 4K display, but I have no doubt that some of the easier to run games will have the headroom to go that far. However, if you're playing at 1080p and on a mini PC at this price point, that's really where you should expect to be. You're going to be able to max them right out and have a great experience. As for AAA PC gaming, Well, surely we can't play modern AAA games on a $400 mini PC, right? Right? Well, yeah, we can. As long as you keep your expectations in check. I think if you're targeting 1080p, 30 to 60 FPS, and you're comfortable with medium-ish settings with a little bit of upscaling in the harder to run titles, you'll have a great time with a system like this. It'll play whatever you want. Any modern game will play on here, and lots of them will play great. I'm running all these games using a mix of settings that I would personally use on a PC like this. But you could lower the settings if you wanted to get better performance, of course. But even like this, for the most part, all of these games were perfectly playable and enjoyable. Now, obviously, you're not going to get 4K gaming out of a PC like this, at least not with modern titles. I mean, considering the price, come on, this isn't a high-end gaming experience. But as a little mini triple-decker peanut butter and banana sandwich-sized box that looks great on your desk, can handle all your desktop tasks, and also play any modern game at modest settings for around $400, this thing is a great value. But TechDweeb, you say, what about emulation? To that I'd say, what do you want me to do emulation testing? And then you'd say, heck yeah, buddy, test that emulation, bro. And I'd say, you know what? Okay, I will, for you. And then I'd do it, and it would look like this. For emulation, you're gonna have a great experience on here. It'll play anything that you want, really. The older stuff is going to be a breeze, so I didn't bother testing any of that stuff. I went right for GameCube. And here we are, playing some GameCube. Tomb Raider Legend, starring my girlfriend, Lara Croft, who I totally go on dates with. Shadow of Colossus on PS2 is a tricky game to run. I was only able to go up to 1080p on this one. There will be lots of PS2 games that you'll be able to upscale to 1440p, but not all of them. Wii U is going to be A-okay. The system runs great on a lot of different hardware though, so that's not surprising. Then we have PS3, and it's running just fine. This is Ridge Racer 7 upscaled to 1080p, and it's not breaking a sweat. And Nintendo Switch as well. Here I'm running in 1080p docked mode. We get some stutters early on in the level, but they clear up quick, and then it's running great. And even Xbox 360 emulation is good to go. Red Dead Redemption is one of the harder games to emulate, and it's running amazing. This is absolutely playable on here. So as far as emulation goes, there's nothing you won't be able to play on here. This will emulate everything, and you could probably push it further with upscaling and stuff. This isn't an extensive test by any means, just a bit of a tour of the stuff you'll be able to do right away without tinkering. The SER6 Max is an amazing piece of tech. It's the most powerful mini PC that I've ever tested, and I can't believe that we're getting this kind of performance for the price. It's not the best mini PC in the world, you could get better ones, but this level of performance at this price is the perfect sweet spot, in my opinion. And it comes with all the bells and whistles you could want. It's a great, small, attractive form factor, has all the I/O you need, the ability to make some upgrades down the road if you need to. It'll run all your stuff, do all your programs, and play the games you want. Yeah, I'm super happy with this thing. However, I need to mention that the prices of these things change all the time. And if it's much more than $500, it's probably not going to compete well with some of the cheaper brands. But Beelink makes good stuff. This is the first product of theirs that I've really tested, and it really does feel like a premium experience. Everything from the unboxing to the look and feel to the fan noise to the performance. Sometimes it's worth spending a bit more to get a product from a good brand name. I'll include a link to this in the description below if you want one. There are lots of other mini PCs though. I've reviewed many on my channel. Check out my mini PC playlist if you want to shop around. There's a link on the screen right now and at the top of the description below. And you can go check that out right now because we're done. I'm TechDweeb. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.